Okay, something about acquisitions. I'm going to throw this out there because I mentioned the idea of becoming a serial acquirer. I love the idea of making a series of small acquisitions as a way to jumpstart growth. Buying companies that are too small for the big companies to buy. Great way to jumpstart your growth. But you have to have some sort of a filter and an acquisition process. And one thing that comes out of a strategic planning process is if you think acquisitions are something that you might want to do, like anything else in strategic planning, you got to assign it to somebody, and that somebody very well may be the CEO, who's often the best person to lead the acquisitions effort in a company. But you also need some sort of a filter to express what it is you're looking for in terms of size. Would you be interested in a turnaround situation? Would you buy a company that carries products that are competitive with yours versus the same product lines? Some acquirers like to focus on other distributors who are running the same distribution software they are because it eases the integration. Two of the hardest things in a distribution integration are integrating the software systems and integrating the sales forces. So there are all sorts of criteria you could put there. It's just an example. No good presentation, however, by a consultant would be complete without a Venn diagram. So I must give you one. It's the overlapping circles. And here, these are our three sandboxes, just to remind you what they are. Customer segments, geographic markets, products and services, and of course where they come together. That's our sweet spot that's going to get most of our investment. Here are the sandboxes, just to interpret what this means. This is the customer segment sandbox or matrix. You can see we've got some pretty big segments there: maintenance, repair, and operating supplies, OEM, contractors, just an example. The ones we want to grow are where we're going to be investing more than we're investing now. More people and more capital in those segments. The ones we're going to maintain, we're going to keep doing what we're doing now, and the ones we're going to harvest, like any typical greedy distributor, will take anything that comes into the boat and eat it. But we're not necessarily going to be sending our salespeople out into chasing those segments. So there's drawing a distinction in that sandbox. Another sandbox is the geographic market sandbox. Where are we going to put our people? Where we're going to put more people, where we're looking for branches and opportunities to make acquisitions, where we're just going to keep what we're doing, keep on going. And the harvest areas are the ones where we'll take orders from there, but we're not going to go out of our way. And if I could draw the same distinction about products and services mix, this might be for a swage lock distributor, who knows? But different segments that products and services that we want to grow, including non-product offerings such as software and design, assembly, and as you can see, this particular company's choice was to de-emphasize MRO and focus on OEM, focus on power units. So, or maintain power units. So those are examples of those sandboxes or those matrices. In many ways, as a company, the things we decide not to do define us as much as the things that we decide to do. So part of the process is deciding what we're not going to do. And as my dad always told me, son, when you don't make a decision, you're making a decision. So if we don't make a decision, that means we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. So we have to define what we're not going to do. There's been a lot written on this discipline of market leaders. A couple of guys, Wiersma and Tracy, wrote a book by that name, and it was very popular. And it was not just about distribution, it was about all kinds of businesses. Our interpretation of this is, if you had to choose a discipline to focus your company on as a distributor, it's almost for sure going to be customer intimacy. The reason being that product leadership is mostly the domain of our suppliers. What we have to do is choose the right suppliers. The other area here for distinction or distinctiveness is operational excellence. It's becoming almost an expectation of our customers that our service is excellent. Now, our service offerings can change. We may have a great electronic commerce platform or not. And we all know that the bar has been elevated in terms of expectations for electronic commerce platforms by business-to-consumer electronic commerce coming in our business-to-business world. But where we choose to compete, operational excellence is considered a given. And it's very hard to be distinctively better. And many have made the statement now that the difference between top-level operational excellence and mediocre is not really distinguishable to most customers. And if they can't see the difference between a 96% fill rate and a 93% fill rate, your service is not distinctively better at the 96 level to get all that customer loyalty you're looking for. So it largely comes down to customer intimacy, which inevitably, of course, we're then talking about sales methods and sales people. Here are themes we could pursue. One of them is to just keep on doing what we're doing. We could become acquisitive. We could integrate vertically. We could become known as an innovator, and as you've noticed, that's become the buzzword these days in business, is being an innovative company. Become a branding expert. We see lots of wholesale distributors who are spending a lot of money on building their own brands. Sometimes that includes the Marco Polo approach there, which is going to Asia and trying to find lower cost suppliers to replace the suppliers you're using now. Being a technical expert, being a consultative distributor, deciding on a good, better, best strategy where you have 3 levels of products and services in your company. These are all choices we have. And when we make a choice, we're making a decision. Again, that's why I said this is not for the faint of heart, because when you make these decisions, you're really, as a distributor, committing to what kind of sales organization and methods you're going to use and how you're going to do it. And as I wrap this up, this is the poor man's, aside from the screw up with the parenthesis in the top, monitoring and accountability. This is the poor man's approach. I don't know what happened there, but the green means, these are the tasks that are assigned to me, and I'm reporting to the group here, and it's March. And yellow means, guys, I'm okay here. I'm going to be able to get back in the green by myself. I just wanted you to know I'm on this. Here's what's happening. Of course, the green means my tasks are on track and I'm doing fine. The red report here probably means I'm in trouble, I need help, and I think we should discuss whether or not this was a good initiative for us or not, because I'm meeting some real challenges. And the whole idea here is to keep the monitoring as frequent as necessary. Monthly is good. And also to keep it as simple as possible and to hold people accountable, which is just what John Batiste was talking about in the previous session if you were over there. So here are my suggestions for you for your strategic planning for your company. First of all, visualize your future for your company. Take the time to step away from the day-to-day stuff. Second, do a SWOT analysis. Third, come up with a compelling goal. I love the BHAG idea. Fourth, recognize what your growth constraints are, because you don't want to have a BHAG that you can't support with people and capital. Think through your sandboxes and come up with 2 or at most 3 breakthrough strategies. Execute violently, and definitely read some good books about wholesale distribution. And I might add that Christmas is right around the corner. So it pays to plan ahead. I want to thank you all very much for your attention. I really appreciate it.